this the admin and Roland one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. You keep the cords all over here too.
Yeah, I think I'll just leave the power cord here. I
Okay.
have other power cords, so
Okay.
it'll be easier just to deal with.
Good. I'll get this back in too.
I'll
Next
just leave it
month?
with you.
Okay. I mean, take it tonight and we'll leave it otherwise. Didn't you get for like the building renovation?
No, well, yeah, they didn't actually have slides. They just had a PDF
Yeah,
that
they,
was scrolled
yeah,
through.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And I wondered why they didn't put it on the PowerPoint together or anything.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to regardless if you have 10 people or 10,000 people vote, like, it's a solid day, you know, so we call it the election. Just being here late tonight, you know.
Right.
It really shouldn't be too bad, but I mean, we'll be.
Really? You think so?
Not for county board.
Oh, yeah,
For the
yeah,
election.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be here tonight for
Lindsay and I
election,
are gonna
right?
be here tonight for the election, yeah.
And New England is doing very good with everything.
Yeah, so, I don't know what to say. It's not. I mean, I think so.
Well, I think they'll just make the decision, let's move forward and try to find something. I mean, that's really all they can do at this point. Either that or they've got to figure out who's gonna fit in.
Well, according to the resolution, the position in the first place, we still have to become the person.
In the interim.
Is
Okay.
it? So that's kind of an automatic, it's like that, but when she's. I was hoping that they would just put a formal appoint for them, just so it's clear
Yeah. So
direction at the moment, because people don't have that. And people don't have it. So people don't know who to go to with this question right now. People don't even know it's automatic.
All right, so it's automatically connected with two screens. So it doesn't duplicate, it doesn't extend. And that's for the purposes of sharing, because you have to share the second screen.
This is an automatic thing.
Yeah. So
where is this setting this take?
So Windows speed.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make that. And it's on extend. Sometimes it's on duplicate. You want it to be on extend, so when you share the screen, you share screen number 2. Otherwise, if you do duplicate and share, then it ends up showing. Well, it shows the notes part of the presentation instead of the actual presentation.
Okay.
So then once you're connected, then you just use the WebEx meeting app.
Is the county board files folder on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you just put in your name.
Okay. So you're not logging into WebEx with this phone?
Correct.
Okay.
So and then it's going to ask for the password.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't need to be anything secretive, it's a public meeting, so.
Yeah.
I just copy and paste what it's generated.
And we wanna make sure everything's muted. And then mute your video and then mute your mic. And nothing, picks up in the.
Good, how are you?
Election today.
Yeah.
Busy?
What was I, voter number 86?
Nice.
Hoping they break 100, but I think it's gonna be a tough stretch. I went at 6 o'clock, so.
Get about 8% of the state average or something.
I'm gonna guess 7.5, so yeah.
Yep.
That's, I think, I said if we reach 10%, we'd be pretty lucky, I think. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty low. Pretty quiet day.
Alright, so now we're connected, and you see us up there.
So you just logged in and, yep, okay.
So then, when you're ready to do the presentation, you share. And then share screen too. And it's gonna change the look here. And you see it's there. When you're all done, you can stop sharing.
But it's not. Because you didn't.
Well, no, because we haven't done it yet. So then once we launch it, it'll work.
Okay. And now when you're done,
When you're done, you just escape out of it, and then go back over there to stop sharing.
you have to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And then it'll go back to the.
But you don't have to do anything.
No, you can just, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can just either leave it connected or you can drop out of it. Whichever one you do.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and so you, I assume, wait to share the screen until that person's up for their presentation?
Either that or I usually put it up right around the approval or whatever.
Okay. Okay,
Like after the silent prayer
And
and stuff,
then-
they'll have it ready.
so if somebody's viewing it online, when the presentation is up, that's all they can see.
They'll see people.
They'll see people on the side.
But they don't see that camera of the boardroom.
No, they will.
They will.
Yeah, they still see that. Like I'll show you.
Oh, wow, look at you.
Yeah, I forgot my cane at home.
Are you okay up there, or do you wanna come down? Okay.
Almost. It feels
All
like.
right.
I had my heart beating at my phone.
Well, he's prepared, if I start to clunk out, I just have to.
Yeah,
And
so
so
see
did he.
the
We see a sweat and we know what's going on up there.
on top.
Oh, it's on top. That's what
So
they
they'll
are,
still
that's what
see,
they.
yeah.
My wife had a fever for a while.
Okay,
Had a fever.
and of course, we share a board that
Did she?
you have to
Yeah,
camera on.
she said they all did
Correct.
report it. They
Yeah,
said basically all
All right,
the same day when
that's
they.
easy enough, I can handle it. I need to.
And I control the operator.
Yeah. Project. It's Windows.
Windows,
Windows.
control key is print, is
Yes.
that's fine.
Windows key. That's what project.
People 55 and below.
I might
more
just,
stuff than the people above. So.
You're getting an advantage.
I'll just leave it.
See, my wife's 55, she's not this big, so.
You're already
She's like a friend of mine.
Right.
So when you're ready for the presentation, that's good.
Good, how are you?
Yeah.
On my cell phone?
Okay,
The trail from
sounds
up
good.
there.
Looks like you're getting along okay.
Yeah, my physical therapist put me through the ringer today, but
Yeah.
other than that.
And then you remember how to turn the sound on, right?
Yeah, but let me do it, not on hand,
Whoops. Come on.
Let's try.
That's it,
That's it.
okay,
Then you have the core or the coding board.
yes. I'll wait a few minutes.
Yeah.
Donna.
Can do it okay for you. Plug it along.
Yeah. Debbie got something in there, so we can sign for stuff that has. I have something to run past you.
Okay.
Jen called my. And so, Jen had said. I would think, hey, this position, really need to. I guess. Okay. I know, and it's such a. Wow. There's a few different.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
Hey, Liz.
But what's like.
How are you?
Absolutely.
And.
That was great. Yes, yes.
So.
Oh, no.
And I understand, but the one thought I can have.
Yeah, well, we can look at it and, you know, like, I agree with you. I don't want, you know, our real estate to be upset.
Yeah.
We don't use it, but there again, it isn't,
It was really like, I, you know, I'm trying to figure out, I'm gonna call it.
Hi, Todd.
I know.
Could you email me your 2021 schedule?
Sure.
That was it.
Sure.
Get your haircut?
A couple months ago.
As we get older.
It don't grow very fast.
It's wearing.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's, I also.
Ready?
So I'll.
How's it going? You know, usual. What do you think of that Portage County, huh?
What happened there?
Opened up all their county roads.
Oh, you mean like
ATV, UTV.
like every county around us?
Every county road. Every county road that you can possibly think of.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, great.
No pushing. The club brought it up to them and they
That's
went
it.
from there.
That's awesome. No?
I thought that was pretty amazing.
So
should be.
And do you want to
Yeah.
stick with?
if I could get to Waushara on County Road, I could go from like Winneconne to my cabin. So many roads are open now. It's awesome. Except for one county.
Ryan isn't here yet.
The county roads that I put in for God, still don't have signs up.
Yep.
I'm putting them out myself this year. What are they gonna do?
So that's what so I put them up in Winnebago County. They took them down on a Friday and put them back up on a Monday. They never charged us. I'm like, you put them in the same pole.
You know, the thing was, I've been emailing them all the time. Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it. Well, what is it, 2 years now? Still working on it?
Yeah. Yeah.
They give up.
Yeah.
Well, basically, we really don't need them signed.
No, as long as there's a sign on the town line limit, then you're okay. Legally.
Legally. Yep.
Staying warm? Yeah. Went through a lot of firewood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brought a bunch in today. So I haven't had a soda for 2 months.
Just doing a clean diet, or what are you doing? Yeah, nice.
Ain't easy.
Oh my God, this stranger here.
Howdy.
How was Alaska?
Wonderful.
Was it cold?
Actually, it wasn't, it was about the same temperature as it was here when we were there. Beautiful.
Went to Arkansas for January and February to get away from the winter. And right now they have 12 inches.
Hey, Mark, you guys want to buy a ladder truck?
We don't have a problem.
Yep.
You want to buy a ladder truck?
Well, my mom and dad go
I
to
know,
Texas,
I know.
South Texas, and they've been out power for 2 days now.
Did they have the ice storms there or?
Yep.
Who bought it?
How long were you in Alaska?
Somebody said they
Just a
bought
week.
Smiley bought it, but I don't know.
I need to get somewhere.
Oh, it was beautiful. Just beautiful
Have you
country.
been there before?
No, that was our first time.
It's on my husband's bucket list, so hopefully someday.
Well worth going.
Yeah, that's what I hear from everybody who goes.
Yep.
Whose dad passed away, huh?
Yeah.
Don was a great guy.
Oh yeah, he was a fabulous guy. Fabulous.
Almost as good as you and I.
Almost. Yeah, he was our village president for quite a while. He was
Pat,
amazing
I
guy.
talked to Lindsay. You mentioned you had called
He
about.
was, he was actually one of them that talked me into getting involved in all that stuff. And
Your
He,
meeting, you're on the loan committee.
Yeah.
And that one is at 1 o'clock.
That's how we got to know him then.
oh,
I
The only
don't
one
think
who
you're
worked
on
in
Treasury, I
NH3
think
down
that's
there in
like
Hancock.
tax
There's a lot of stuff.
So,
Got to
here's
know
gonna be the
very
first.
well there.
There's some
Village
paper,
board, I had
could I have
to
a paper?
village board meeting a couple times.
The agenda
Motion.
or,
Yeah.
you want me to print it off?
Wanted to,
Or
he
I
had to come up
emailed it
with, said
over
he wants to
last
use you
Friday,
to
but I
fix water main breaks and stuff like that. Got a problem with Joe with it.
Oh, there's, I can't see all that stuff.
she's
What's
got
this?
like, Lou's had like a lot of.
Yeah.
You want me to just print
Appreciate
that off for you? I can do
you
it real quick.
asking me.
Yeah.
Sure.
We take care of Hancock and Coloma. I can't handle it. If you ever come into a big emergency and you can't get anybody, call me. But I'm not familiar with your
Water.
water. Hancock and Columbus.
That makes sense, you know, makes sense. It's always glad to have a backup, you know?
Yeah, well, I always told them.
Be nice.
You still working on it?
Little jar. Trying to get the stuff to. I don't know, she had some guys from,
The regular
Waushara auction come down doing an appraisal of it. And then I guess they ding their,
I've been getting,
yeah,
getting calls about meetings from Amanda Butcher.
Oh, the wellness meetings?
It's been,
Just leave, yeah, I'll do that. I'll make a note right here. Honestly, I totally forgot. See if it's.
I can't read it. Get up.
You bet.
anyway, they, according to the junior boss, they charge $2,200 to come down and appraise it. And if she has them do the auction, they'll give her it back. I don't know what she's gonna do, but I think she's gonna probably give it everything, house included. So I don't know, but I'm trying to get stuff oil changed, serviced out.
Well, I have seen Christopher today driving a blazer truck, a low boy.
No,
Okay. It wasn't-
I don't know. It could have been, I don't believe it, but,
I mean, after the stuff he's done, we need that new
yeah,
truck. But it sure
I
looked like
don't
it.
think so.
Yeah.
He's such a smooth talker, he might have smoothed it up, who knows? Anyway. Well, Jerry,
Pretty good, pretty good.
it's good. No, I just do a couple hours here and there.
Thank you.
Try to get stuff lined up and ready for when she pulls the pin.
How are you?
What are you gonna do? Want anything or?
Well, I've had a couple offers, I'm gonna explore them and
So I.
see which one, I'm not close to taking social security, I might just take that,
I'm guessing I'll hear from her.
pick up a little bit here or there or whatever.
He's a pretty good bartender too.
Oh, yeah, the
If
bartender.
not, I'll give you a call. That's okay.
Down at Johan's.
So if it's gonna be the
I said, you got some couple days a week? Right, 2 weeks ago, I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 6 days. I said, that's almost like part-time to me.
Done.
Anyway,
This mask killing.
What's that?
This mask is so tight. It's choking me. It's killing me.
Where do you think it was at?
Hey Larry.
hi, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
We're going out, we don't even
Keeping
know
warm?
that area.
Thank you.
Pretty cool out there.
Was it
Oh,
Friday?
it's not too bad tonight. No, it's supposed to start warming up though too, so.
There's been more complaints today than there has been in the last 2 weeks. So, out the sunshine and everybody decided they just had to get
Yes.
up to start complaining. And everybody's sick of winter.
Okay, and
No,
it stays red if it's on?
maybe not winter so much as cold weather.
Okay.
So.
Hey, I'll go over to Point City as soon as it's snow.
At least January wasn't bad.
No, that was,
I don't know, I said we were gonna pay for that nice weather. And we did.
It
did,
won't
yeah.
last long.
It lasted long enough for me. We're in the gas business, Larry. You think we love it? No, I don't. Everything breaks down.
Everything
Yeah.
freezes off.
$17,000 for a new transmission on the truck.
Well, stop squealing the tires.
Don't feel
Driving
good.
so
I
hard.
went to the dump Saturday.
What am I supposed to be
It
doing?
was a little slippery and Bob was going a little too fast. All of a sudden there I am up into the snowbank there by the intersection. Didn't think nothing of it. Got home. That night I had to go bartend. Got in the truck, the engine lights on. This ain't good. Got home Sunday morning. I figured I was too cold. Took Melissa's car to church. Monday morning I called Charlie and says, what can I do? I'll bring it in. We'll check it out. So they did. Here there's, this guy says, you didn't have an incident with a snowbank, did you? I said, yeah. Some kind of sensor on the fairing underneath it. I'll bring it in today. So I took it in at 1 o'clock. I didn't come home with it. There's a lot more wrong with it than what we thought was at first. Dawn was not real impressed with me. And then Monday they had off from school. Took Jackson along. First thing in the door when we got him. Grandpa hit a snowbank and he didn't tell me. And I didn't think it was that bad.
Well done, grandchildren, don't you?
Probably gonna be $1,200 to $1,500 damage for a damn snowbank.
Oh, boy.
I tell you. All fun and games till somebody gets hurt or hits a snowbank.
Yeah.
Usually I wear my winter jacket.
But what are you gonna do?
It's getting now.
I said I put insurance for a reason. See how good it is.
Yeah.
When I eat lunch, I take it off. I'm in the office and
Don't look like too much on our meeting for tomorrow,
You delivered the individual, pretty non-eventful.
we used to, but now that's,
You guys took all visits?
we do for.
Unless it's something that's a no-brainer, and you'll take pictures and.
Call the meeting to order.
I'll be able to come to the meeting.
Okay.
Guys, call the meeting to order. Megan, will you roll call, please?
Mr. Bonfiglio. Mr. Piaski. Mr. Tim.
Here.
Mr. Cap.
Here.
Mr. Eckstein.
Here.
Mr. Jarvis.
Here.
Mrs. Collada.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Wadel.
Here.
Mr. Lauer.
Here.
Mr. Kirschner.
Here.
All right, thank you. And we will stand for silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. We will remember Ruth Zowski's father and his passing, and also we lost our former Sheriff Norm Weiss this week, or last week. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agendas printed.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Waito,
Second.
second by Mr. Lauer. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we will approve the minutes of the January 19th, 2021 monthly meeting.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Jarvis, second by Mr. Eckstein. Do you have any questions or comments concerning the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have no unfinished business. So we'll go right to reports and presentations, and that would be the Highway Department Annual Report.
Can I do solid waste right away too?
Sure, you do whatever you want, Ryan.
So I don't have much on solid waste. We took it over in April. And I don't have comparables to go to from last year, but I got a couple of them. Just real briefly, the cans were the compactors when you're feeding stuff in. We went from 736 pulls last year, so full dumpsters that got hauled away, to 862. And we're up about 660 ton of garbage just in a compactor. That being said, so a lot of people sat home and cleaned it last spring, you know.
Why
And the
not?
only other one that I got to kind of compare you with that is oil. Last year we had 10,500 gallons of oil that we collected, and this past year was 9,700, almost 9,800 gallons. So even that's down. People aren't, whether they're going shop or store to do it or not putting miles on their vehicles. So That's really all I got. Waste management bought out at Advanced Disposal. It was about a 2-year fair trade agreement thing that the federal government was going through. There's another company that filled in because of competitive bidding called GFL. They're out of Canada. They actually took over a few spots, Armor being one of them. So we negotiated a solid waste contract in April and the recycling next year. So we'll see how things fall into place with the companies. So that's really all I got about solid waste recycling.
Last couple times I've been to the Coloma collection site. And used to be paper was on one dumpster and glass and plastic on the other. Now they're all commingling. So does that mean we can put it all in one container at home and dump it in there? Or?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So it's single stream recycling. So what's happening now is it used to go to, the recycling would go to Amro and it would get loaded in the truck and it would get hauled someplace. I don't know.
Okay.
Now GFL is actually contracted with waste, goes down to Fond du Lac, and then they have a sorting area building where it just separates it all. So we're filling up one building or one dumpster at a time. There should be signage out there.
There
So
is.
when there was typically two containers there, and we paper in one and plastic glass in the other, now we're filling up one, so hopefully it'll reduce the number of pulls that we have too, because we pay every time a container is pulled out of the site, we pay for it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So then we get into this thing, just the highway department. This will be brief. If you look at the orange line, the last 5 years, that's the levy that we have received, tax levy. It was up just a little bit from the year before. And then revenue is the other number. The revenue, I have yet to figure out exactly where we're kind of leveling off. You know, you get a good, you get a growth year, and then, you know, whether it is how business works or whether it is the amount of money that we're receiving from townships, whether it's the amount of money the amount of work that we're doing for ourselves. So that number is still one that I'm trying to overcome yet. So if you go back, and these are actually by the year, if you look at what we've done for paving, we're up and then we're down, we're up and then we're down. And the reason that we're down this last year, is we try to have a little bit of carryover. We are planning on doing all of County Road P. It's 12.5 miles long. And we want to do a full, what they call DOT average thickness of pavement. So it's 4 inches of pavement instead of the typical 2 or 3 that we would normally run. So we're going to have a lot more asphalt on that job. So we're trying to save some money, set some money aside. In the seal coating, we're down a little bit. That's for 2 reasons. We've taken a different view of pavements in the last 6-7 years, and we've actually started to thicken up the pavements a little bit. The reflective cracking is not coming through as fast, and we don't have to seal coat quite as much. But we're also, as we're thickening up our pavements, we're hoping to get the roads to last a little bit longer than what they have in the past. So as we're cheating on one, we're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul until we get to a point where we have pavements thicker, where the heavy trucks and especially the ag equipment the roads can handle that stuff. Municipal paving, we never really kept track of it before, so this is the first year that we did it. You can see we did almost 5 miles of paving for local government. And then municipal seal coating, we're up a lot, and we project that number to keep on going up. So last year we did 52 miles of seal coating, chip sealing between the county and the municipals, and that's probably the most that this county has ever done in the past, at least in the last 25 years that we know of.
Ryan, the increased municipal seal coating is kind of goes hand in hand with the plowing that we're doing. That's the reason for that too.
Yep, and I'm gonna get to that in just a
Oh,
sec here.
okay. Sorry.
So, no, that's quite all right. 6 years ago, we did one township. 6 years ago, when I was interviewed for this position, I was told to find more work. And that included doing more townships. When I started here, we did 136 miles of state roads, 334 miles of county roads, and 48 miles of township roads. The first two numbers are the same, 136 on state, 334 on county. We are up to 367 miles of township roads. That includes 14 new employees. And I'd like to thank you all for voting the affirmative when we asked for them. I will tell you that we have bought trucks. We have not sold any plow trucks. I think 2, and it's only because we couldn't fix them anymore. They weren't worth repairing anymore. So in the last 5 years, we've added a lot of trucks. We've added a lot of equipment, and we're running through this growth thing that we're just still growing. So that's 8 townships out of 18. I have not been knocking on anybody's door asking for work. They have all come to us, and we are more than willing to entertain anybody knocking on our door. So revenue to expense, because we are an enterprise business, all our equipment has got a rate assigned to it, and that rate is statewide. And the only way that we can make money is when we work that equipment hard enough that our revenue exceeds our expense. So the engine, the key on engine running, the guys record that, we charge that piece of machinery out that way. And when that machinery exceeds what it costs to run it, that's where we get our revenue to expense. This is the number that we use that gets put into equipment replacement. We do not pull off the levy for any equipment that we have at the highway department. So everything that you see there is just growth based off of running the equipment. So that number keeps on going up. That helps. Right now, a 5-yard patrol truck's about $180,000. Quad axle that we use, some of them a lot. They're running about $180,000, $190,000. Everything's expensive. Pavers are over 400. We bought the line striper a few years ago, 435,000. So it's always good to see that number go higher instead of lower. This is some of the stuff that we bought last year. That little paver, it's good for doing trails. It also has done some other paving. Haven't done a lot of work with it, but we had one that had wheels on it. It was not a very good piece of machinery. We sold that one and bought this other one. That truck is a 12-year-old truck. It was deemed surplus by this village of Menominee Falls, and Waushara County was dumb enough to go and spend $12,000 on a truck. If I remember before, I told you that these new ones are $178,000, $180,000. Sometimes we got to go with the $12,000 ones when we need the stuff in a hurry, and we're not afraid to use it. The lowboy trailer is an older trailer, used. They're about $110,000 new. I probably paid $22,500 for that. The gooseneck folds down real nice, so it's easier to load the paver on. We did have some problems with the last lowboy, and we still do have that one for hauling track machines. So. That's it. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I see a lot of counties using pre-treating equipment for snow and ice. Are you looking at that, or is that anything we've ever looked at, or what is your thoughts on that?
So there's two different things. There's a thing called anti-icing when they go and they run the strips of salt down the road.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times that works real good in the spring or in the fall of the year. In the wintertime, you go down 21 right now and look at how white it is, and how if you just watched the salt fly off, it's already pre-treated. The other thing is liquid only. The DOT is going towards that. They are They compare us to Iowa a lot, and I don't know why, because the temperatures vary about 40 degrees difference. But they do compare us to Iowa a lot. And liquid only is a thing that's happening. In the building committee, I put forth a proposal to have a building to make brine that you would actually carry with the truck. That building, just the building, is going to be about $500,000. That's given us no equipment to get it to the road yet. So there's two different ways of doing it. We can do it with the state, what they call indirect billing, where we use their salt. We use our equipment. We can only bill them a certain dollar or it's pennies per gallon. If we go to a direct billing, we build a building, we pay for the water, the gas, the electricity. We use our salt. We can turn around and direct bill them. We can make about 40 cents a gallon, 25 to 40 cents a gallon, depending on their mood and how much you spray. So at the end of the day, we can still write off the building. Are we better off to have our own building, or are we better off to do it the other way? That's why that building is in the building plans.
Okay. So it is something that you are looking at, but
Yep.
okay.
Yep. I will tell you right now, we have a 2-inch water main going up to our shop. We need a minimum of 6-inch. When you start doing this, we're looking at some of the other counties, Shawano County, Wood County, Jefferson County. These guys are using 30 to 40,000 gallons of water an hour when they're spraying. Marathon County last year put over 3 million gallons of water, brine, 28%, out on the road. So it reduces your consumption of salt. Does not work if the snow is real wet and heavy because of moisture. It'll create ice. Will not work in a rainstorm. It'll make ice. So you still have to carry a solid with you in order to dump on top of it. The other part of that equation is there has not been very many counties that have done it where they spread sand, where they're using the brine on top of sand. Because right now, I have been charged with placing sand on county roads and township roads because of the expenditures. $80 a ton for salt, about $14.50, $19, somewhere like that, to make a ton of sand with 5% salt in it that just keeps it pliable enough so it doesn't freeze. So.
Just simple math then. Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just an observation. A couple of years ago, Brian called me and said he had some trucks down. He needed to buy some quick. And he found some that were reasonable, actually cheap. And that's what he was talking about. And a few weeks later, I got calls from my people in my township saying, "Who's plowing the roads? There's a red truck out there." And I said, "Are they doing a good job?" "Oh yeah, they're doing a super job." And I said, "That's still the county." I says, we use what we have to use.
Yeah, I think we're a preferred customer through Wisconsin Surplus online auctions.
Probably.
We couldn't afford, as fast as we're growing, we couldn't afford to buy all new equipment. We just can't. But we still need to keep updating some of it. So it's about 2 patrol trucks a year. If you go back to the quad axles, we were running triaxles for a long time. Triaxles actually pay more money. Quad axles not as much, but you get more production at the end of the day, which reverts back to helping the customer out, which is that's what we're all about. And we're buying trucks we're buying 1,000,000-mile trucks instead of 50,000-mile trucks now too. So they're a little bit more money up front, resale value at the end of the day, and hopefully longevity makes up for that at the end.
Any other questions for Brian? I think you're doing a great job, Brian. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next we have a discussion and possible motion action items and 2021 fire wardens as proposed by the Department of Natural Resources. And the names, I believe, were in our packet. You want to read the names, Mick? And you have them right there.
The town of Wautoma, Wade Penow at Wautoma Rental. In the town of Poisippi, Barb Medell at Medell's Lanes, if that's how you say it, and
Good.
Town of Wild Rose, Dana Leschnack at Wild Rose Convenience Store.
There's some more, aren't there? Is that it? That's it? Okay.
There were a lot more in previous.
Yeah. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the ordinance. Motion by Mr. Eckstein, second by Mr. Bonfiglio. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed, same side. Sign. All right, next we're going on to administrator vacancy and how we would like to proceed with this. I talked to Ruth today, and of course, you all know that Mr. Civic resigned last week. And what we need to decide now is moving forward, do we want to go along with the administrator position, or do we want to go back to the administrative coordinator position? I feel we should move ahead and just stay with an administrator, start looking for someone, and but I would like your opinion on it, if you have one, and we'll start there.
I'm with you.
You are? Okay.
Me too.
You're gonna stay with the administrator position. Larry, you have an opinion? No? Okay. Any discussion on this?
I would think that we should look into the coordinator again, but I think we should keep things open, not just make one call.
Okay. And by looking at everything, what, like, I don't understand what you
Well,
mean.
I mean, I wasn't here when we created the executive, the administrator. My experiences have been that I get constituents coming up to me and expressing concerns, and there's nothing I can do because he has the authority to do all these things by law, and he's not elected, so there's no accountability. Constituents are calling me because they express it to me, and there's nothing I can do. So to kind of defeat the purpose of having elected people out here to represent the constituents, when there's one person gets to make the decision without any other input.
One of the things that Ruth suggested was that we could go with an administrator, but tweak the job description.
100%.
That's what
And, I think she's right about that. I think some tweaking does need to be done.
I don't think it's legal.
Well, if Ruth says we can tweak,
I mean, state statute determines what an administrator does and what an administrative coordinator does. As long as you follow state statute, if you don't, it's not legal. That's what I'm saying. You just have,
Yeah, we
you have
need
to
to-
work
yeah.
within the state statute.
right.
I don't think Don is suggesting we do anything that might be even the least bit illegal. Just tweak
No.
it within the bounds.
I know, but I think you have to realize what the state statute actually, how it divides those
Well,
positions.
certainly.
And maybe what we want to tweak, you can't tweak
Well, then we won't
because
tweak
it's
it.
state statute.
Yeah.
That's all.
I would never do anything illegal because Wally knows where I live. Yes, Bob.
How do we compare it to other counties our same size? Do most of them have administrators, or do they have administrative coordinators, or what? Where do we fall in the scenario?
Well, I can tell you right now that Marquette County is going to an administrator. They're looking for one right now. Their administrative coordinator was also their county clerk. So he retired from that position, and as soon as they find someone to fill his position, but they are going to an administrator. Wait, who is it? Adams is looking for an administrator. Green Lake has an administrator. And of course, the bigger ones, Oshkosh, and they have, an elected and executive. But I think Calumet has an administrator. So I would say that most counties our size are going to an administrator.
Okay.
But I can tell you that if we find things that we can tweak to make it better, that Ruth will not let us do anything that is outside the state statutes. You know, she'll take care of that. She'll watch that very carefully. John, did you have a question?
I just was gonna say, I mean, I dealt with, I haven't dealt with either one of these very
Mhm.
much because I haven't been on here very long. But I think from what I've heard and seen is the frustration comes when we as supervisors get complaints and there's no way to get any kind of oversight on, and I don't know how that's gonna be structured, but I'm hoping that that's maybe something that Ruth can do. Because a lot of times, you know, either a individual or a employee or someone will come to us and say, you know, we don't like this, and you know, and that's part personality too, because
Right.
and I guess that's going to fall on us to hire the right person that is somebody that would you can go to. But I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes, is with not being able to have any kind of oversight where you can go in there and say, you know,
Yeah.
we've got
My
to do something. We've got to
constituents aren't
complain.
happy with this. Is there something we can do?
Right.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the board, county board still hires that man or woman and fires that man or woman, has that power. So we can still as a board direct him
Mhm.
or her. I think you're selling yourself short as a board. You know, maybe we didn't do what we should have done.
We can direct the right person. Some people are not directable,
Mm-hmm.
I know.
and without being mean or anything.
Right.
Just, you
And
know,
that, for me, one reason why I support the administrative position is that if employees are unhappy with a decision the administrator does or administrative coordinator, then they could run to any county board member, and it would undermine the administrator's position, I think. It's like when you hire a manager to run a company for you. You don't want the board to be running every time someone they hire the wrong person or they fire the wrong person in the board's mind. That's why you hire a manager to run the company. We shouldn't be involved in that.
Right.
We're not here every day. Administrator's here every day. He knows what's going on.
It's more along the lines of when you don't see it get addressed. Like if you have that problem and you go and you say, this person has a problem, or, you know, even one of your constituents has a problem, and you don't see it get addressed, that's where you have to have the right person to.
Yeah,
but it's not an easy job anyways.
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope that, you know, the employee would feel comfortable enough to go to their department head,
Mm-hmm.
and that it would be, you know, handled internally, you know, because I know they have department head meetings and discuss all these things. So, and of course, the department heads have the administrator's ear. You know, they can go in anytime. So I think, you know, I get what you're saying, Pat, but I also get what John's saying. You know, there has to be some kind of an avenue that they can take if they're having issues or problems. There has to be an avenue they can take, and it's going to have to be spelled out. The personnel code deals with most of it, but yes, the administrator, you have to give them the power to do what they need to do, within reason, of course.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Eckstein.
how soon does all this have to be done? Do we have to make any decisions tonight?
I think I would like to make a decision on whether or not, because we need to move forward. And we've got a lot of things coming up, and we need to move forward. One of them being the building project, because I don't think we want to let that linger due to the interest rates. And I believe I talked to Kurt from the Samuels Group today. He called me, and if they have something, the building committee will meet on the 4th. So hopefully we can have something to bring to the board at the next board meeting, because we have to get moving if we want to take advantage of the rates. But we're gonna have to decide how much, it's a big plan, and we're gonna have to decide how much of that plan we wanna move forward with. So, but he said they would be ready on the 4th of March. He'll meet with the building committee. And then he asked if we wanted him to come to county board that following meeting, or the March meeting. And I said, yes, I thought we did, that I would check with Ruth, but I thought that would be the way to go, to move forward. And then we'll also have the gentleman who is handling the bonding will be here as well. And we'll see what we want to do. So. Yes, Brandon.
Is this a thing we can make a motion on then?
It is.
Okay, so can we make a motion to fill it as an administrator, but with the caveat that we would have a sensing session with the directors on what they would like out of an administrator position or what changes they want to see? There's a lot of firsthand knowledge in this room right here, and then others who aren't here tonight, not just the 11 people here who,
right,
had an interaction with them. So
okay.
we're gonna do it. Let's do it right.
All right.
Can I just clarify that for the record? So
Oh my gosh,
the
you want me to
bill
repeat it?
administrator
Yeah.
with,
Like a separate, I don't know if you want to call it a sensing session meeting with the department heads or directors. It doesn't have to be with the whole board, but maybe the executive committee can do it during their meeting or whenever that would be.
Yeah.
So.
Just so they can so directors can give input, right?
Yep, and feedback. Not the description, but like what they're looking for those changes. I know it's like a super long motion, so I apologize to everybody that that's how it came out, but if you guys want to change it, please feel free to amend it so we can have her type some more.
We don't know what you all said.
I don't.
I would second that, but just you said that Ruth is working on this kind of thing now, so that would give us more clarification with that. But to get it going, I would second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any more, Larry?
Do we have an interim administrator at the moment?
No, we don't.
Who's
Ruth.
running the show?
The inmates.
Yeah, Wally brought a few of them over. No, Ruth is taking care of that for now.
in the resolution after creating the administrative position, it did under that, recommend a base step for council. So, I mean, it is officially.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, any other questions? Yes.
I don't
Pat.
understand why we have to put that in there. Is the motion that we want to go to the administrator? But you want input from the department heads? I mean, why is that? I mean, I think they should have the input, but I don't know why that has to be part of the motion, I guess.
Maybe that is something that could be handled at a department head meeting that could be discussed with Ruth. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I absolutely think they should have a opportunity, but I don't see why that has to be part of the motion as far as, it seems like
All right.
a not necessary part of it, but that's.
Do you want to withdraw that, Brandon?
What if I said no? Do we just vote on it then? I'm kidding. If we need to withdraw it so that it meets everyone's intent, we move forward. But there should be a meeting, that's held, I think a lot of people have good input. So if it's not gonna happen in the next month, then I'm not gonna withdraw it. So it's gonna happen the next month.
What?
Is it gonna happen in the next month before the next meeting?
It's hard to say. I hope so, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Continue with our department head meeting, like Tuesday, I believe, or Wednesday. Okay.
Oh, okay, so it's already in.
It's already in there.
Sweet.
Go.
All right, so
agenda.
then withdraw that one and then make a motion to approve as administrator. Does that work?
That sounds good. Thank you.
You help me out again?
I'll again
And
second. I'll second
second,
it
We're
again.
good.
motion by Bonfiglio, second by
Since you
Jarvis,
cleared it up so
to
much,
go on
Brandon.
with the administrator position, hire an administrator. Okay. All in favor?
I,
Opposed, same sign. All right. Next, consideration and possible action on the following ordinance. Ordinance number 659, an ordinance amending Waushara County zoning maps pursuant to the authority granted in Chapter 58, Waushara County Code Zone Change, Ed Birch, Town of Springwater.
before we progress with that, can I just ask a question?
Yes?
What is the executive's committee's plan on how to go about hiring an administrator?
Well, we haven't met since the administrator left, so we really haven't discussed that yet.
What happened last time when we did hire Bob? Who pursued the
The Corp Council and the administrative coordinator did that and then brought the applicants to the county board or to the executive committee, and we interviewed them and went from there.
So the reason I ask is because we don't have an administrator right now.
Right.
And we just have the corporate council. We might want to look at an other way of, or another person involved or something to help us. The only reason I bring that up is when the city went from a clerk treasurer to an administrator type position, we hired a firm to help us find people. And it costs money, but you get it's a opportunity to get good candidates, put it that way. And they'll investigate those candidates to make sure that there's their history and they are what they say they are, and et cetera, et cetera. So
You're talking about like a headhunter, right?
right. I mean, there are firms that do that in the state here. So I'm just saying might be a possible option.
That certainly is an option that the executive committee can look into, because I don't think that's a bad idea. It might save us some grief in the long run.
Yeah.
So, okay. I hope we'll have the consensus of the board that maybe we should do that as well. Look into that, going that route. So we'll put that. Megan, can you put that on the agenda for executive, please? Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Bob.
But there are certain things that you can and cannot ask of a candidate, is that correct?
Well, that's with any
You gotta be-
employee. When you are interviewing any employee, there are
Right.
certain things that you can and cannot ask.
Because I'm just bringing up for instance, many years ago, I was on a committee, we hired someone, and man, the resume just come out like, man, why hasn't everybody hired this person? We
Mhm.
got this individual, and boy, did we get laughed at for what we did. I mean, literally, why did you guys have what was your thinking?
Mhm.
It just didn't work out. So they can put on the world's best resume, and you can't hide the negative things in a job that you've previously had. So how are we gonna know for sure that we don't get into the same hornet's nest that we did with, the current one?
Well, I think you just made a good point for Pat's suggestion.
Well, if that's what it takes,
Yeah.
so be it. It'd be better to spend, I don't know, I'm not gonna put a dollar amount on, but a certain amount of money and really get a good candidate that has been thoroughly researched and whatever, not just what he brings to the table and presents it on a piece of paper and we look at it, oh, that's great.
Okay.
So I
Sounds
guess
good.
I would go along with Pat's suggestion, maybe that we see what a so-called headhunter would cost for a position such as this.
Mhm. Yeah,
Pat,
certainly they would have more expertise than we do. Yes,
can I ask Pat a question?
absolutely.
Pat, do you remember what it cost the city at all?
Well, you're probably gonna look at around $20,000 to $40,000, I would imagine. But again, Bob's salary was 150,000. So you gotta consider that
Yeah.
is an investment in trying to find that
Mhm.
right candidate, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. Anything else?
Did it work out for the city?
Absolutely.
How long has Tommy been there?
Okay.
How long has Tommy been there now?
5, 6 years, I believe.
Okay, now I have to read this all over again. Thanks, Pat. All right, we'll move on to consideration and possible action item on the following ordinance. Ordinance number 659. An ordinance amending Waushara County zoning maps pursuant to the authority granted in Chapter 58, Waushara County Code Zone Change, Ed Birch, Town of Springwater. Motion by Mr. Exxon to approve, second by Mr. Wado. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Board suggestions for future agenda items. I think, hopefully we'll have something from the building committee. And of course, we'll see what we've come up with as far as the administrator. Maybe we'll be bringing something forward on whether or not to hire the firm to do it. So, because I think that should be approved by the full board.
Yes.
So,
One question,
yes, Bob.
is Ruth staffed enough to handle both her job and taking over Bob's line of work? Or is she gonna
Hopefully-
cut one end or the other short by
I-
being underpowered?
Ruth has never cut anything short.
I understand that, but I mean, if she takes
Yeah.
on this extra job load,
I think we'll have to see, and go accordingly.
okay,
Bob has a good staff there with Michelle and Liz and Andrew and Zach. I think maybe they will be enough
okay,
help for her.
all right.
So,
Thank you.
Okay. And also, I would like to welcome our new district attorney. He's not so new anymore, but Matthew Lusink is in the audience. Thank you for coming. See you. He is hard at work, I'll tell you that. So,
Well overdue.
right. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Mr. Eckstein and second by Mr. Tim. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Right? Bam, bam, bam. We're done.
What were the things that you're saying that they were getting arrested?
Goes back on a lot of different things. How you doing, Mike? I'm getting better.
This Friday.
Gonna make it tomorrow or feel like you're getting typically, some of them were like the library. Well, that's fine, that's fine. All right.
Right.